Okay, so the first way we're going to look at speeding things up, or so you don't have to deal with repetitive things over and over, is a thing called Model Builder. And the way Model Builder works is basically you take a number of tools that are available to you and put them all into one, put them all into one tool. So basically you're going to build a tool made up of a whole bunch of other tools. And I've picked an example here that you can probably relate to, and that is in the course assignments, I've had you go to the forest resource inventory and break out the type aggregate into its individual components of cover type, subtype, site class, ground closure, and cutting class. And also we've gone in, I've asked you to go into the species field and break out the working group, or the most dominant tree species in that stand. So what I've done is I've created a tool that will do that all for you in one press of the button, basically. So I'm going to show you that tool. I'm going to show you how it runs, and I'm going to show you basically how it was built. It's actually quite simple. And to get a hold of Model Builder, you first have to go into the Arc toolbox. It's something we haven't used yet, but if we take a look at the map on the screen here that I have open, there's a red toolbox here. And if you click on that toolbox, it opens up a number of tools. And some of these tools are similar to the tools that you use, have been using off of the toolbars, like add a theme, all right? Convert the shape file. These are all tools you've used, but you've used them through the graphical user interface of ArcMap and not the individual tools in the toolboxes. So basically every tool that you have used and that are available in the graphical user interfaces are also available in the toolbox. I've opened the toolbox from within ArcMap. You can also go to Arc Catalog, and from in Arc Catalog, click on the toolbox as well, and it will open the toolbox for you, just as with ArcMap. Now, in order to create your own tool, you have to go and create your own toolbox, which I've already done here. It's called Wills. All right, so and to do that, all you do is go into your toolbox directory here, right mouse click, and go add or new toolbox. And it creates a new toolbox for you, and I'm going to call this one junk, so I remember to get rid of it later. So it's as simple as that. And once you've created a new toolbox, I'm going to go into mine here. I'm going to expand it. You can see I have models 1, 2, and 3 there. And as model 3, I'm going to show you basically models 1 and 2 are earlier versions of my model 3. I just saved them at certain intervals in case I lost something or messed something up. I didn't have to go back from the start. So to create a new tool, you just click on, or a new model, you just right mouse click on your toolbox and go to New and either Tool Set or Model. In this case, we will be choosing Model. When that opens up, you can now see that I now have Model 1 down here as well, and you can start building the model. I'm going to close that one out. I'm just going to minimize that one for now because I'm going to open this one here. Now, if I double click on that model, what it does, whoops, sorry. If I double click on the, it should run. Okay, all right, mouse click and go open. It should have opened by just double clicking on it. And for some reason, we're getting these error messages when we run any tools in ArcMap right now. I think it has something to do with the way things are set up. You can basically just ignore them. You shouldn't be getting them. You can either click yes or click no. It doesn't seem to matter. And then what you get is the model or tool that opens up and the graphical user interface you have to deal with. And what this one is going to do, it will, from here I can pick the township from my map here and run that tool on that shapefile. I'm just going to close it out here. I'm going to cancel it. We'll come back and run it later. I'm going to show you basically what's in the model. So again, it's model 3 we're running. I'm going to choose edit this time so I can open up the model so you can see what it is. It might look kind of complicated, but it's actually fairly simple. We've started off here, and we have a shapefile we're bringing in here, and there's a P in here that notes that it's a parameter. And by parameter, when we note something as a parameter, what it's going to do, instead of going and grabbing some specific shapefile, it's going to ask the user, or the person running the tool, to specify what shapefile it is that they want to run the model on. If I didn't have that as a parameter, I'd have to signify some specific shapefile in a directory that it would look for. But basically, the user is going to do that, and that's basically how you would want the tool to run anyways. Once that shapefile has been chosen, the first thing that's going to happen, this hammer signifies that this is a tool, and what it's going to do is it's going to select the productive land base on that union polygon shapefile from the FRI. Again, if you remember from doing your calculations, only the productive land bases have true site classes, crown closures, cutting classes, cover types. And so you want to make sure you're only calculating on the productive land base. What will output or basically the output here will simply be the shapefile with those polygons selected of the productive land base. Then from there, the model goes this way here, and what it's going to do is it's going to add the field cover type, or in this case I call it C type. Then the output for that is basically going to be the shapefile with that cover type field added. Then it's going to add the field subtype. Then it's going to add the field site class. Then it's going to add the field cutting class. Then it's going to add the field crown closure. Then it's going to add the field working group. And then now that all the fields have been added, it's going to start to calculate them. So it's going to calculate the field cover type. It's going to calculate the field subtype. It's going to calculate the field site class. And they'll come over here and calculate cutting class, calculate crown closure, calculate working group, and then the model doesn't quite end right there. It comes over here, and then it unselects the selected polygons so that you now have the result will be you will have the shapefile with all the new fields in there and calculated for you, as well as it would have selected certain polygons, and then it would unselect them so that you're left with no polygons being selected. The one hang up in this model, the way I got it built right now, is it needs a shapefile. So you have to convert if you're working with the original coverage files, you have to go ahead and convert it to a shapefile first. Eventually, as I figure it out, I'm getting very close to figuring out, it will actually grab the coverage file, convert it to a shapefile first, and then do everything. So what I will do now is I'll run the model. I'll show you how quickly and easily it does everything. And then what I'll do is I'll show you exactly, I'll give you an idea how easy it was to build this model. All right, so we'll just close this. And now we'll go back to running the model. Again, I should be able to double click on this and it should run, but for what reason that's not working, we'll just open it, run it. Again, we're getting these error messages for whatever reason. We can just ignore them. And I'm going to go in here, and remember I told you to ask the user for the shapefile, or to enter the shapefile it wants the work to be done on. So I'm going to grab the one in the map here, and just a minute, I'm going to cancel one more. Can I get in here? No, I'm going to cancel it one more time because what I want to do is show you, in fact, that my shape file right here, if we look in the attribute table, all right, you don't see that there are no fields. Look on the right-hand side here. What's that? No, I haven't run it yet. I wanted to show you that they're not there, so you know the model actually works. All right, so we'll come in. We'll just minimize that again, or get rid of it. We'll run the model again. Again, we get these things. For whatever reason, choose that shapefile, and now I just click OK, and it'll run. All right, you see it's going through. It gives you some scripting as to what's going on, runs the model, and when it's all done, it'll let you know. And if you read what it's saying there, it's basically going through all those steps, saying it's calculating the cutting class. And is it done? It says completed, so we're going to close that window. We don't need to see that. And now we're going to open up the attribute table, and hopefully everything worked. We go over here, and now we have cover type, subtype, site class, cutting class, crown closure, and working group. All right, and you can see that the non-productive land basis, nothing was calculated for it because we selected those out in the model. A lot faster than having to do them individually. All right. Now I'll show you how easy it was to build that model. So I'll open up this one here that was empty. All you simply do is, the first tool I used was, what was it now? The first tool in my model was, we did a selection, and let's just go with something you're a little bit more familiar with. The add field. All right. So here's add field tool. I mean, you're not familiar with using it in Toolbox, but it's basically quite similar to the way you've been adding fields when you're editing a particular attribute table. We just drag it over here and drop it. All right. And there's the tool already. Now, if I go to double click it, well, I'm going to open it. You should be able to double click on it again. It basically starts running that individual tool, and you can see it asks for an input table. All right, so it's asking what input table there is, and we could just simply select this shape file as our input, because that's what it would be. The field name we would type in, so I'm going to call it junk. This is where you would type in cutting class, site class, whatever it was. Specify what it is. In this case, it's going to be text. And field position, again, how many characters wide. You can see on the right-hand side, every time I choose one of these boxes, it gives me a description and even a help if I want, if I need some help in what I'm doing here. And basically, I'll see that it's 5 characters wide. And now I can click OK. It's not asking me for anything else. It now turns yellow because there's input into it and there'll be output. Now, once that field's been added, I could go and calculate it next. And to calculate a field, I would just grab this tool here and drag that over and double click or open that one. Again, it runs that little model for me, or that tool. Input table, I'm going to specify. You can see now I have, well, let's cancel this all, and we'll take a close look at what we have here first. All right. I have the input. Here's the output in this case. So I'm going to calculate the field on this output. It's called it 6519U. So that's what I want as input here. So I'm just going to, and that'll link everything together here. So again, I open that tool. So I'm going to pick the input. It was this one here. It was the output from the previous tool. Field name that I'm going to calculate is junk. And then I go in here and just as you use the calculations previously in some of the assignments I've given you where you've gone into attribute tables and created a new field and calculated, we have basically the same graphical user interface in here. So in this case, I'm just going to say junk equals land ID, just to simplify, just to simplify things here. And then go OK. And oops. That should be okay. And once that's done, I click OK, and now it's joined, and you can just keep on building and building and putting tools together as I did, and have it all run at once as a single tool. So it's quite simple. It takes a little bit of time to get the hang of, like anything, but I tell you, it's save you a lot of time if you're always having to do something with your particular map data. Okay, we're not going to run that because it's not really ready to run. So close that out. I don't want to save that. And that's, again, really all there is to it. If I go back to our catalog here, I'll just show you how you can manage your tools. And that if you see your directory here on the left, and there's catalog, right out of catalog is a folder called your toolboxes. Excuse me. And in those toolboxes are basically all the toolboxes that are specific to you, the user. Here's my toolboxes, all right, as opposed to assistant toolboxes. And that's where we have Will and the one I just created, which was called junk. I'm going to right mouse click on that junk and delete it. All right, so again, if you need to do some managing afterwards of toolboxes you've created, or if you're like me, the first time around you make some mistakes, you create a whole bunch of toolboxes, and then you wonder how to get rid of them, well, this is how you do it. And you don't actually have to have a map open in order to work with Model Builder. You can come simply into your Arc catalog if you want. And that's it. Any questions?